Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And before I say anything else, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now and pay very close attention. Because what I am about to show you and tell you in this video is something that tens of thousands of car enthusiasts across America have already been losing their minds over for the past several weeks. The 2026 Ford Mustang in Shadow Black is here, and I promise you, I genuinely promise you, that nothing you have seen or read about this car online has fully prepared you for what we are about to get into today. So do not move, do not skip ahead, because the thing I am going to tell you at the end of this video about the 2026 Mustang is something that almost nobody is talking about yet. And once you hear it, you are going to understand exactly why the people who have already seen this car in person cannot stop talking about it. Now I want to start by asking you something personal. Do you remember the first time you ever saw a Ford Mustang? I mean, really saw one. Not in a magazine, not on a screen, but in real life, coming toward you on the road or sitting in a parking lot while you walked past it. Do you remember that feeling? That thing that happened in your chest? That involuntary reaction that your body had before your brain even had time to process what you were looking at? Because that feeling, that specific feeling, is exactly what the 2026 Ford Mustang in Shadow Black is designed to trigger every single time, in every single person who sees it. And from everything I have experienced and everything I have heard from the people who have been up close with this car, it does exactly that, every single time without fail. The Mustang has always been more than a car. You know that. I know that. The hundreds of thousands of people who have owned one know that. But what Ford has done with the 2026 model is take everything that has ever made the Mustang emotionally powerful and turn it up to a level that nobody saw coming. This is not an evolution. This is not a refresh. This is a statement. And the fact that they chose to present the most dramatic version of this statement dressed in Shadow Black, one of the darkest, most intense, most visually powerful finishes that Ford has ever offered on this car, tells you everything you need to know about the intention behind every decision that went into building it. So let's talk about the outside first, because the exterior of the 2026 Mustang in Shadow Black is where this entire story announces itself to the world. And it announces itself loudly. The body is long and low and muscular in that unmistakable Mustang way. But everything about the 2026 model has been sharpened and tightened and made more intense than any generation that came before it. The hood is long and dramatically sculpted with deep power bulges that run the length of it, creating these incredible light and shadow plays across the surface that in Shadow Black look absolutely stunning, like the car is alive and breathing beneath that paint. Every angle of this car and this finish looks like it was designed specifically to be photographed at night under streetlights, because the way Shadow Black catches and releases light as the car moves is genuinely one of the most dramatic visual experiences I have ever had watching an American performance car in motion. The front end is commanding and aggressive without being overdone. The grille is wide and bold, flanked by these sharp angular headlight assemblies that give the Mustang this intense, focused expression, like a car that has made up its mind about something and is absolutely not interested in discussing it with anyone. The front splitter is integrated and precise. The hood vents are functional and beautifully shaped, and the overall impression from the front in Shadow Black is of something powerful, purposeful, and utterly serious. People who see this car approaching them on the road do not casually glance at it and look away. They stop, they stare, and then they get their phone out. That is the real-world reaction that this front end generates, and Ford knew exactly what they were building when they signed off on it. Down the sides, the body is taut and sculpted with that classic long hood short deck proportion that is the Mustang's most enduring visual signature. The character lines are sharp and precise, catching Shadow Black's incredible depth in a way that makes the flanks of the car look almost three-dimensional as you walk around it. The haunches over the rear wheels are wide and muscular, not subtle, not understated, but genuinely imposing in the way that only the greatest American muscle cars have ever managed to be. The side profile of the 2026 Mustang in Shadow Black is one of those rare automotive views that you can stare at for a very long time without ever getting bored of it. It is simply that well composed and that visually satisfying. And then you get to the rear, and this is the moment that I want you to really pay attention to, because the rear of the 2026 Mustang in Shadow Black is where the car makes its most powerful and most lasting impression. The tri-bar taillights are iconic and immediately recognizable as Mustang DNA. But in the 2026, they have been redesigned with sharper detail and more dramatic depth than any previous generation. In Shadow Black, the contrast between those glowing taillights and the dark body surrounding them is simply jaw-dropping. At night, and I cannot stress this enough, at night the rear of this car is one of the most spectacular sights in the American automotive world right now. Thousands of people across social media have been posting photos and videos of this exact view, and every single one of them gets an enormous reaction, because it is genuinely that special. Now let us get inside, and this is where I want to tell you something that very few people are actually talking about right now. And it is the thing that I promised you at the beginning of this video. The Black Onyx interior of the 2026 Ford Mustang is not just an interior. It is an environment. It is an experience. It is something that changes the way you feel about getting behind the wheel of a performance car in a way that is very difficult to put into words, but very easy to understand the moment you actually experience it. The moment you open that door. And by the way, the door opens with this solid, confident, vault-like weight to it that immediately tells your body this is a serious machine. You drop down into a cockpit that wraps around you in the most complete and most satisfying way. Full black onyx leather across every seat surface and every door panel. Black stitching so precise and so clean that it looks like it was done by hand with real care and real intention. Black headliner above you, black surfaces in every direction. The whole world reduced to this focused, intimate, darkened space that puts everything outside it at a distance and makes the road ahead feel like the only thing that matters. It sounds dramatic. It is dramatic, and every single person who has sat in this interior has said the same thing. They did not want to get out. The driver's seat holds you in a way that tells you immediately this car was designed around the experience of the person sitting here. Wide bolsters that support you through corners without ever feeling restrictive. Deep cushioning that is firm enough to feel connected to the car, but comfortable enough for longer drives. The steering wheel sits perfectly in your hands, wrapped in the same black onyx leather as everything else in the cockpit, with this wonderful, grippy, purposeful feel to it that makes you want to drive the moment your hands touch it. The instrument cluster sits directly in your line of sight, presenting everything you need to know in a clear, direct, driver-focused layout that never distracts and always informs. This is a cockpit designed by people who understand what it means to drive a Mustang. People who know that the driver is the center of this universe and everything else exists to serve that experience. And here is the thing about the Black Onyx interior that nobody is telling you right now. In shadow black on the outside and black onyx on the inside, this Mustang creates a total visual and sensory experience that is completely unique in the performance car world at this price point. You are sitting inside pure blackness, surrounded by quality and craftsmanship, looking out at a car that the world literally stops to stare at. That combination is not available on any other car right now. You cannot buy that experience anywhere else. And the people who have figured that out are the ones who are already putting their names on reservation lists before the rest of the world wakes up to what Ford has created here. Now let us talk about the one thing that is making the rounds in car communities across America right now: the pricing. And this is where the fear of missing out becomes very real and very immediate. The 2026 Ford Mustang in its base configuration is expected to start somewhere in the range of $35,000 to $42,000, which for a car that looks and feels and drives like this is genuinely one of the most compelling value propositions in the entire American automotive market right now. Mid-range configurations with the shadow black paint and the full black onyx interior package are expected to land in the $52,000 to $62,000 range. And the top specification performance variants, the ones that every serious Mustang fan is already talking about, are expected to push towards $70,000 and beyond, depending on options. At every single price point, this car is extraordinary value for what it delivers. And here's what you need to understand about those numbers right now. Ford is not going to have unlimited allocation of shadow black cars with the full black onyx interior package. The combinations that look the most spectacular and generate the most attention are always the ones that sell first and sell fastest, every single time. The people who are already in Mustang communities across Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram, the enthusiasts, the collectors, the people who live and breathe this car, are already having this conversation, already making calls to dealers, already putting names down. And if you have been thinking about the 2026 Mustang in shadow black, The time to stop thinking and start acting is right now. Not next week, not when more reviews come out, right now. Production on the 2026 Ford Mustang is expected to begin in late 2025, with customer deliveries rolling through the first months of 2026. The reaction from everyone who has had early access to this car, journalists, collectors, longtime Mustang owners seeing the 2026 for the first time, has been universally the same. This is the best Mustang Ford has ever built. Not incrementally better, genuinely, significantly, unmistakably better in every way that matters. And coming in shadow black with Black Onyx inside it is the most dramatic, most intense, most completely realized version of that achievement. The Mustang at its greatest has always been the car that made you feel something real the moment you saw it. The 2026 model in shadow black does not just continue that tradition. It elevates it to a level that this nameplate has never reached before. And the people who are going to own one are going to be driving the most exciting, the most emotionally powerful, and the most visually stunning version of America's greatest performance car in the entire 60-year history of this extraordinary machine. So what do you think about the 2026 Ford Mustang in shadow black with Black Onyx interior? Are you already thinking about getting one? Drop everything in the comments right now, because I genuinely cannot wait to read what you all think about this. Give this video a thumbs up if it got your heart racing even a little. It helps the channel more than you know. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a single video, because we are following the 2026 Mustang all the way through to launch day, and we are going to have content that you absolutely cannot miss. I will see you in the next one, everybody. Take care.